Thoughts on that presser yesterday?
Yeah, you're going to put up banner number 7? Come on. I mean, celebrate. I'm so excited, Chris.
I know. Where was, they should have had Kool and the Gang playing in the background for that thing. I mean, yeah, that was unbelievable to me. I thought it was a rather self-congratulatory press conference based on what they accomplished so far in free agency. I like what they've done. I give them a solid B. They've upgraded the roster. They should be better than a 4-win team. So I get that, and I like that. But this was over the top to me. And I didn't like sort of the self-congratulatory nature of it, the fact that I thought they were like a little bit disconnected from reality. And it also sort of came off as overconfident and arrogant, what they were talking about. And when I look at the guys they brought in, I do like them, but I still believe if you look at, let's say, in my opinion, these are the 5 key positions in today's NFL: quarterback, wide receiver 1, and this is no particular order, left tackle, impact, game-changing edge rusher, number 1 corner. I think they're set at 2 of those positions, which are quarterback and number 1 corner. But those guys were already on the roster before free agency started. And for me, Harold Landry is a nice piece. I'm glad they got him. I don't think he's a game-changing edge rusher. I don't care what the sack numbers say. You're talking to someone who covered Mark Anderson and Derek Burgess and other guys who racked up sacks. And I could tell you they weren't really impact pass rushers. So when I look at this, I say, I like what you're doing with your roster. It's headed in the right direction. But why do we need the owner out there? Why do we need the executive vice president of player personnel out there ball washing the owner for the resources they've been given for this? I mean, you would have thought they got T. Higgins in a trade, or Micah Parsons, or it was like this coronation. And I'm like, for these 4 guys, they're good players, but it just, to me, seemed disproportionate. The amount of celebration and back slapping and back patting they did just seemed disproportionate to what they actually accomplished. So I'm going to give them the old, anybody who ever covered Roosevelt Colvin back in the day, he used to say, calm down all the time. I'm going to give him the old Roosevelt Colvin, calm down, guys. Like, good start, but you got a long way to go to make this team relevant again.
Well, first of all, the thing that you mentioned, the 5 impact positions: quarterback, receiver, left tackle, edge rusher, corner. They're also the 5 most what?
Expensive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so which is another thing. It's like, yeah, they've spent some dough, finally. But at the end of the day, I'm not exactly bowled over, because it makes perfect sense. Like, it feels like just so them that their overspend is at D tackle, second corner, inside linebacker. Those are lower paid spots. And they may have overpaid for the second corner. They may have overpaid for the defensive tackle, but it's relative to their positions.
More affordable.
So there's that. But the second thing, Chris, and it's really a question for you. Why do you think they did it yesterday? It's the first time. You mentioned Roosevelt Colvin. It's the first time they've held an in-person press conference for a free agent signing since 2003. And we assume it was Roosevelt Colvin, maybe Rodney Harrison, but probably Roosevelt Colvin. At the time, that was a big signing.
Yeah.
So, but they haven't done this in 22 years. So why do you think they did it yesterday?
Because they kind of have to goose and geek up the fan base, and they want to sell you on better times are ahead. And they're turning it around, and it's going to turn around quickly. I mean, when you look at last year, the way that thing ended, fans obviously calling for Mayo's job, getting Mayo's job. I said this to you on the show when we were talking near the end of the season. There was a real disconnect at the end of the year between the fan base and that team. Not only was the fan base disappointed in that team, they disliked that team. And I think, for some of the guys in there, I think the feeling, was mutual about the way Mayo had been treated, and they felt like they were being treated by the fans. So I think this is trying to turn the page, and it's kind of, it's almost Red Soxian. It's like full throttle, big sell. Look at what we're doing. It feels almost Red Soxian in that way, where they're trying to get you all gassed up about the future and what's coming, and they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to basically sell you a car that they haven't built yet. Like, when you can pre-order whatever the newest Tesla or whatever is, you pre-order it, and 2 years from now it will arrive and you'll be able to drive it. That's what this feels like to me. They're asking you to pre-buy in, pre-order on what they're building, and they're trying to show you how great it's going to be.
Well, we have another signing. I mean, look, we're mocking them, but I think we should hit the button.
Okay, fine, hit a button.
This is is breaking sports news.
Powered by Valvoline Instant Oil Change.
On 98.5, The Sports Hub.
This from Tom Pelissero. Veteran safety Marcus Epps is signing with the Patriots on a one-year deal worth up to $4.4 million. 45 career starts. Epps is coming off a torn ACL. He's expected to be cleared well before training camp.
So the contract was 1 year for up to what?
4.4.
Up to.
Up to.
That means it's 1 year minimum salary.
Yes.
Is what that really means.
Coming off a torn ACL.
Okay, I don't need to spend any more time on this. Yesterday.
What do you mean? I mean, that's look. You got to look at Matt Groh. That's the other thing they told you. He's really excelled in this contract role. He's on a roll. He gets Epps to agree to that deal. What a steal.
Okay, give me that. So yesterday there was another, there was two things: pumping up the fan base, getting some good headlines.
Yes.
But then the other subterfuge is, again, pumping up the collaborative nature of their front office and throwing Elliott out there first in command, second behind the owner, blah, blah, blah. He gets out there and they're crediting Matt Groh for the contracts, and Mike Vrabel's mentioning Alonzo Highsmith and Groh and all this collaboration. So what that piece to it, and you can focus on Groh if you want, that puts me off as well because it's just a load of crap.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I mean, again, that's where it looks like just a lot of backslapping and, happy talk and all that stuff. But the Groh thing is interesting to me because we got the answer to a question that we've asked several times in the show. Why is Matt Groh still here? What does he do? Elliott Wolf told you yesterday. First of all, he was part of the contingent they had when it came to assessing free agents, but now he's taken a bigger role in the contract negotiation world. Exact words from Elliott Wolf. And Elliott Wolf said he's really excelled this year so far on that, which is translation. He's still kept intact all the per game roster bonuses that ownership wants in every contract. Way to go, Matt. You're not going anywhere. In fact, you might get a raise because you kept all the per game roster bonuses built into the contracts. I mean, for the 1 millionth time on this, because I know there are differing opinions on it. And I think sometimes you have one of those differing opinions too, Felger. Look, Matt Groh's not picking the players, but he's still influential. He's still in an important role, and you should be alarmed by that. I'm sorry. You just should. It's so rare to have somebody who was at the top of your personnel department 2 years ago, and now he's still there hanging on. They're finding a job for him. He's been demoted. I would say he's like number 3 behind Wolf and Cowden, but it's like he's also behind like Alonzo Highsmith. He's behind, Stryker, Stretch. He's basically behind him, but they found this job for him. And he does have a law degree, so he is qualified to look at contracts. But it's like, ultimately, if you have somebody who was part of the failure of getting the team to this point, like David Andrews, Dietrich Wise, Jonathan Jones, Devon Godshaw, those guys don't get to stay because you need a culture change because they were part of the losing, but you're going to keep Matt Groh? Huh? What are you doing?
Well, that part is that's a good point because it does feel like, in terms of Vrabel, he's flushing out Belichick captains, but this is still another Belichick guy that's there, probably against his will. So this is the part of it is like
it's a craft guy.
Okay, so how does that work though? Because at some point, even if he's put on the pay no mind list by Vrabel and company and his guys, at some point doesn't he worm his way into a conversation that they're just like, get out of here? It becomes a problem.
He's an earworm to the owner.
Yeah,
that's the worry, that the owners still like or listen to guys like Groh or Wolf, and that they still would have some sway. And if Vrabel screws up, if they don't draft well, or these picks or these free agent signings don't work, it's very easy for one of those worms to get in the owner's ear and say, see, we told you this, and like that thing, like they've set themselves up for that thing.
If you need a rat snitch, hire a rat snitch guy.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's just where I was going to go before Maury said that. Sorry to cut you off, Jim. But yeah, I mean, that's the other element that's concerning. And you wonder if that's why you're getting so much of this performative rhetoric from Vrabel about including everybody and making it sound collaborative. Because the moment those guys who've been here before feel like they're totally tuned out and it's not collaborative, are they going to run up the back steps and tell the Crafts like, oh, Mike's not being collaborative? It's kind of like when you tell on your siblings. Yeah. Dad, Mike's not being collaborative again. What's going to happen there? Is that part of the fear? Is that one of the reasons Vrabel is so over the top in his sentiments that he's expressing about what a big role everybody is playing and how collaborative it is in terms of piecing this team back together?
I just wonder if Vrabel was sitting there yesterday saying, really? We're doing this. Wait, can you tell the people what you told me off the air?
Yeah, so Jared Stillman, who's down in Tennessee, he was on with us in the Super Bowl. We played some of his audio, which is great. He covered the Titans during the Vrabel 6 seasons he was down there. He texted me this morning and says, you can use this from me. The people with the Titans in the organization were shocked, in all capital letters, that Mike Vrabel did a press conference after free agency. It was very noticeable.
Meaning he would never do anything or never did anything like that in Tennessee.
Correct. Both of those things. Never did anything like it. Would have never done anything like that. But this time, thank you.
I'd say the same thing about the Patriots for 20 years.
Yeah.
They haven't done this for 23 years. And it's nothing that Vrabel would ever think to do. I mean, just look at it like this. Bedard pointed this out yesterday. Where have been the press conferences for Josh McDaniels, Terrell Williams, the coaching staff?
Yeah.
There's been no press conferences for the coaching staff. They may have.
They are coming. Those are upcoming. They're coming the week of the owners' meetings. They're coming in April. It's on the schedule.
Okay. Well, they were hired a month ago. So it's like Vrabel's in no rush to do media. He's in no rush to have his guys do media. This is another ownership dog and pony show trying to sell you something, trying to sell you on the direction of the team, trying to sell you on the collaborative nature of what we got going on here, or whatever they're selling. And Vrabel has to go there and I think sort of talk through clenched teeth was my kind of impression on that.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.